And let's talk about John Wall. Now, John Wall, he was included in the MVP conversation for the first month or two of the season. But he has been recently diagnosed with having 5 non-displaced fractures in his left wrist. Now, I'm not exactly sure what a non-displaced fracture is, but it doesn't sound like it feels good. Not at all. And now this comes after, well, he suffered this injury in the Game 1 win over the Atlanta Falcons. And if, you know, it really looked like the Wizards were getting ready to pretty much take off in this series. The Wizards won their 4th consecutive Game 1 at an opponent's home arena. And that's something like, that's an NBA record, winning 4 Game 1s in a row on somebody else's home floor. So they were on pace to really, really make a big run. And losing John Wall now, they're not saying he's out indefinitely. He's out for the playoffs. He's out indefinitely, but they're not quite sure how long. And so there are some people out there saying, well, if they make it to the next round, to the Eastern Conference playoffs finals, he might be able to make it back in the game. If they make it to the championship, he'll be ready to play. But it's not looking good for the Wizards. This really, really hurts them. I mean, he is by far their best player. This team, as Paul Pierce would say, and I totally agree, is going to only go as far as John Wall and Bradley Beal take them. Well, now it's Bradley Beal by himself. I'm not saying Bradley Beal can't do it. I'm just saying I kind of find it unlikely that he will do it. Because Bradley Beal is a great player, but he's kind of secondary to John Wall, who is the motor that makes his team run. Now, you look at what he's averaging just in the playoffs. He's averaging 17.4 points per game, so that's good. 12.6 assists. So you got to imagine, let's say 2 of those are 3-pointers, and that's just 2. I mean, probably more than that are 3-pointers. I think he's been averaging like 4 or 5 assists on 3-pointers this postseason. But let's just say 2 of those are 3-pointers. So that accounts for 26 points and assists, and then his own 17 points. So that's, you know what, 45 points? Can I count? Did I get it right?
Close enough.
All right, close enough. And so that's just on the offensive side. Now, on the defensive side, it's hard to calculate. I think he has like 1.2 steals or something like that. That's pretty good. I think his season average was a little higher than that. But he can lock down any team's opposing point guard, which is great. And he also is averaging 1.4 blocks so far this postseason. That's amazing for a point guard to do. I mean, if a point guard averages 0.2 blocks per game in a playoff series, that's awesome. And he's averaging 1.4 blocks in the 5 games he's played so far. So it's going to be a really, really tough uphill battle for the Wizards to really make it over the top. Now, it is a good thing they went out and got Ramon Sessions earlier this year. He's not John Wall. I'm not saying he's even close to John Wall, but he's more of a similar player to John Wall. He keeps the motor running and he keeps him moving up and down the court. He's not as good on the defensive end, but he might be able to pick if he gets more minutes, he might be a little bit of a better shooter, but he's not as good of a facilitator. So you do lose a little bit of that. So it's not John Wall, but it's better than like half of John Wall. It's like 3/4 John Wall.
It's like a safety net. Like, at least you're not going to fall too far.
Yeah. You might break a leg, but you won't die. So I don't know if that's encouraging, but so it's going to take a lot of people. We're going to have to see Paul Pierce really, really step up and score more than he's already done, because Paul Pierce has been great for the Wizards so far this playoffs. Bradley Beal, where he has played excellently, he's averaged 20 points so far this playoff series, or this year's playoffs. He's going to have to step that up more. I mean, we're going to have to see a lot more play out of people like Garrett Temple off the bench. And that's if, you know, the Hawks don't just decide to get super hot and shoot at 50% from the three-point line. So there's a lot going on. Unfortunately, like before this injury, I would have said the Wizards, after they won Game 1, they've got this series. But now with the injury to John Wall, it's going to be a lot more difficult to say that. But I don't know. Let us know what you think. Hit us up, comments down below. Of course, at Words to My Face on Twitter, Google Plus, Facebook, and wordstomyface.com. Always good ways of just keeping in touch.